the more you get better in chess, the more theory becomes important. And that's why I decided to make this video in order to show you how you should study theory in the best way. So first of all, I want to divide the way you should learn theory into different levels that depend on your elo. So let's say you are below 1000, that's the first level. The second is between 1000 and 1600, and the third level is above 1600. So let's say you are a beginner, you are below 1000 and you want to know theory. What should you know? Well, first of all, let's say you are really like a complete beginner, you don't even know the name of the opening, op only chess. Now, what is Lichess? Lichess is a free chess website, so everyone can download it. I don't think you even need to download it, you can just search it on Google. It's completely free. You go on Lichess, you go on tools, as you can see, and you go on analysis board. So you are completely new to chess, and you see on this master database, and if you don't see this, it should be on the option. So you see on the master database that the most played move is e4. So this is set up for the master database. So these are the games of title players. I always use this, but you could, let's say you go on the Lichess database and you see the games of every player, but they are not going to play the perfect theory. So let's go master database, and you see that the most played move is e4. You play e4, and then you see, for example, c5, e5, let's say e5, because you probably saw this somewhere. You see people playing this stuff, and apparently it's called the King's Pawn game. Let's say you play knight on f3 or something else. This is going to have a name, alright? So what you could do is just stop with the first moves, let's say 2 or 3 moves, let's say knight c6. You see this name, you go on YouTube or on Twitch, wherever you want, and you search the name of this opening, and you try to watch the general ideas. As a beginner, you don't need absolutely anything more than that. So just watch the general ideas, just learn the first 2-3 moves and try to understand them, and then you play the game. So theory at beginner level is not important. You should try to learn the basics of chess. Theory will be important in the future. Now it doesn't really matter too much, because you know the first move and you blunder the queen at move 5, So you need to get better with calculation, with the understanding of the position. So don't think too much about theory. What channel should you watch if you want to learn theory? In general, this is important for every level. Now, I don't know every channel, but in my opinion, the best ones are Hanging Pawns, absolute best. Especially to know the openings in general is the absolute best. Chess Factor is also pretty good. And there is also the St. Louis Chess Club that is really advanced. So I wouldn't suggest that to you unless you really want to learn theory in depth. But of course, it is pretty good too. So you learn the opening in a really general way, and that's it. Now, talking about intermediate levels, so people that are rated between 1000 and 1600, again, videos are going to be really important. So definitely you should watch them in order to learn the opening in general. Now, at this point, you might want to learn something a bit deeper. I will still suggest you not to learn like a ton of moves, but just again the main ideas. And if you want to go a bit deeper, not too much, you could also use the Lichess database. At this level you will start to use it and see if you can find something that you like, because the problem with videos is that they are pretty good, but usually they show the opening in general, or if they are in depth they don't always show everything, because of course it's really difficult to show everything. Chess is plenty of lines. So you might want to study by yourself and try to watch some good moves. For example, at this point, let's say we want to play the Spanish, because at this level you definitely know what we are talking about. So we play the Spanish, and let's say they play 6, you go back and play knight on f6. Let's say you watched a video, I don't know, where they suggest you, for example, to castle, to play d3, but you look at the database and you see, for example, queen e2. You see this has a name. Again, I suggest you to watch the video about this, but if you want, you might go a bit deeper with the theory and try to watch some moves by yourself. Again, the database is going to be helpful for you, but you're not still at the level where you could study everything by yourself. Because in order to do this, you need a lot of experience. You need to know the position where you feel comfortable with, which is not always simple. You should understand ideas. So it's going to be complicated. Of course, it's going to be helpful, but don't rely on this too much. Talking about advanced level theory, so let's say you passed 1600 and you want to know theory. At this point, theory is going to be pretty relevant, especially after 2000. If you know theory well, or at least better than your opponent, you're going to get a better position, and more often than not, you should be able to convert if you are considerably better, let's say plus 1.5, something like that. Not saying you definitely win, but you're going to have a definitely easier game. What should you do? First of all, we need to define how much we want to know about theory. At this point, you should understand, you should know where you feel comfortable with a certain position. So when you feel like you are comfortable with the position, you should stop learning theory. The problem with theory is that it is a lot. So you can't study all the day a certain opening or more openings and pretend the day after or a week later you're going to remember theory. That is not going to happen. So you shouldn't like overstudy something. You shouldn't study too much, but you should study enough in order to get a decent position. Now, another important thing, what opening should you study? At this level, you definitely know where you're strong and where you're weak. So if you think there is a line where you lose a bit too much, you should, for example, start with the line. For example, in my case, I had a problem with a line of the Alpine Sicilian. Yeah, of the Alpine Sicilian. So I'm playing as white. I want to play the Alpine, so they play c5, I play c3, and then they play knight on f6. So I had a problem with this line, with the knight on f6 line. Now you play e5. I used to play this. Now knight on d5. You can play d4 or knight on f3. Knight on f3 might lead to different positions. So if you play knight on f3, you're not telling your opponent if you want to play d4 or if you want to play bishop on c4. Doesn't make a ton of a difference, but I think it is a bit more precise to play this. And let's say they play knight on c6. I used to play c4, bishop c4. Now knight on b6, bishop b3, c4, bishop c2, queen c7, queen e2. And now there is, for example, g5. Now I didn't like this position because, again, I like position where I have a lot of space, especially with white. I can't really play d4. I don't like the fact that I had to develop the knight on a3, because let's say they play a6. It's not really going in the ton of squares. Okay, in this case you could take, but it's definitely not that simple. So I didn't like to play this line, and I had problem in fact. So you want to find something else. So instead of playing bishop c4, in this position you could play d4. So let's say you want to play something else. You want to take space, for example. Again, it depends on your likings. So you play this, and now they take. This is the line. Now you can take back or play bishop on c4. Now bishop on c4 looks like a gambit. So before playing a gambit, let's see if there is something different. I usually like to play something more normal. So let's see what happens if I take. Now, as you can see, there is the winning percentage. It's not like super low, because this is the result of all the almost 3000 games where they play d6. So after they play d6, as you can see, there are a ton of lines. So it is pretty general. Although I have to say that you could take a look by the results and by the games that had been played in order to have an idea if the opening you want to play is strong or not. If white has a low winning percentage, it means that black can equalize pretty easily in general, or that they have a tricky position. For example, if they play 6, as you can see, the winning percentage is pretty high, so there has to be some line where white is going to get a pretty good position. I will start with the lines where white has problem, because, you know, you're more prepared for the worst. You play this, and now, for example, there is c4. This is the line I used to play. So c4, knight b6, bishop b5, and then they take, knight take, bishop covers. Now we take, queen take. This isn't too hard to learn because they are not first move, but they are moves that threaten something pretty important. So for example, now that I need to play d5, so I play this e6 in order to prevent it, so it's not even that hard to remember. Now we castle, you want to castle, so bishop e7, and now there is, for example, queen g4. I took a look at queen g4 because it is aggressive, makes sense. Castle, and now you take, pawn take, bishop on h6, threatening mate, you defend, and now you play rook fd1, king h8 in order not to get mated, knight on e4, you cannot take because I win the bishop, and you get pretty much destroyed. Queen e7, bishop g5, and we played everything, and I stopped in this position. So I learned till this move, what is move? Okay, 20, 21, something like that. You don't have to learn this many moves. But again, you should stop when you feel comfortable with a position. That position looked pretty complicated, so I feel comfortable now because I have targets. It is a position I like. I usually play well in endgames, so I felt comfortable in this position and I said, okay, let's stop. I'm going to play this. There is a problem with all of these. Let's go back. Okay, this is not what we were supposed to play. So they play, okay, these or knight c6, they can't dispose if you play d4. d4, take, let's say they play d6, now we play these. That line is good. Although black can play d takes c5, and I always lose. Like always lose. There isn't a line I like. Look at black winning percentage. He sucks. So for this reason, I decided, okay, I like that line, although if my opponent can play something that I'm going to lose against, doesn't make any sense to play this line. So at this point, I decided to go back, and I thought, well, there might be something else to play. And in this position, I remember that instead of taking back, you can play c4, bishop c4. So bishop c4, it is a gambit. They go back, attacking your bishop, and you go back. Now this resembles the first line we saw, but they can't play c4, so I would say it's better, definitely better, because we also have pressure on f7. Now if they take, again, if you learn gambits, the first thing you need to know is what are you supposed to play if they actually take. Now taking is bad, so it is a gambit, but it's not really a gambit. Well, it is a gambit because we're down to pawns. So yeah, but this is not good for black. Let's say they play e6 now, we already have a ton of pressure. We can play knight on e4, then bishop on f5, put pressure on the square. Our opponent is not going to develop any piece and is going to be destroyed pretty soon. So first of all, I like this idea. So let's see what happens if our opponent decides not to take. Let's take a look at the main line. So where they play d5, he takes d6, and now they take with the queen, for example. And now I took a look at short castle and knight on e3. I decided that short castle wasn't the move for me because of bishop on e6. I saw some lines and I thought, well, I don't like this. I would like the pressure there. I would like a more aggressive position. So let's try to play knight on e3. What is the point? The point is that we want to attack the queen. So this looks nice. If they play a6, we get a pretty comfortable position after castle. So let's say something more annoying. What happens if they take? You can play queen e2 or queen takes on d6. I took a look at both of them and I decided that queen takes on d6 was the good one. Now again, black has an higher winning percentage, but this is in general. Let's take a look at some more precise lines. So you need to go in depth if you want to study theory properly. Will you find something you actually really like? So I like this idea. We are still down material. They take, we are down 2 pawns, but we are going to play knight b5. Now if you take, there is bishop take on b2, we're threatening these, we are going to castle long. They're probably going to get destroyed. We are down 2 pawns, but is equal. which means that our activity is compensating the 2 pawns disadvantage, and that's huge. Although, again, you need to be prepared for this. But let's say our opponent plays the best move, which is the only played move, so you can understand that this is not a great thing to play. So rook on b8, and now there is b takes on c3. We're not going to take this because it doesn't make any sense, and we're not going to give a check because the king just moved. So for now, it doesn't make any sense. They play a6, and now we can play bishop on e3. Why? What is the point? If they take, which is the most played move, we are going to take. Now this looks really rowish, although I have to say it's not easy for black. Now, okay, Stockfish is saying black is better, although we are humans, and a lot of time you're going to see that title players plays line that the computer dislikes, but in this line they're going to have the higher winning percentage. Always keep in mind that we are playing against humans, we're not going to play against Stockfish, so sometimes the line that is not really loved by Stockfish is going to be the best you could play against a human. So let's say they play rook on a8, there is, for example, rook fe1, you castle, otherwise there is a ton of pressure, rook a d1, and we take a look at this line, and as you can see, this happened. I stopped there. So we have the same material, and they have these ugly pawns. They're going to have more activity than us. It is probably the wish, but it's something I like. Another thing you have to keep in mind is that not everyone knows 23 moves of theory, so they might play badly and they might lose. And that's another important thing I want to talk about. The first thing you study is the main line of what you would like to play. So let's say you want to play sad line. First of all, take a look at the most played move, and then you might take a look at something else if you don't like it, because at least you're going to be prepared for the thing that is usually played. Take your time, you don't need to learn everything in a day, and also look at what happens if the opponent plays the wrong move, because you are supposed to know how to punish your opponent. So this is also pretty important. You can understand that learning theory at high level is really difficult, it takes a lot of time and effort. If you want to focus on an opening, you should learn everything in a day. It's going to take days, maybe weeks. Don't study too much, otherwise you're going to forget everything, and in the long run you are going to know a lot of theory and you're going to prove a lot. Now, last tip, after you study your theory, you will get a position you feel comfortable with. Sometimes though, you might need some help and to understand plans. And again, if you go on the database of Lichess, let's say we play a French. So it's something I know pretty well. Let's say we play this line. Come on. Oh, wait. It's white time. I know the French pretty well. They play these, we play these, they play these, we play these, they play these, we castle, they castle, which is wrong, and we play these. And let's say you like this position, obviously you like this position, black is winning, but you want to know plans. As you can see, there is this session called Top Games. So you can actually watch these games that have this position. So this is a position played by grandmasters. So you do this and you're going to learn what are the plan for the middle games. Of course, this is another topic. It's not about the opening, but this is going to be pretty helpful too. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you liked this video and see you soon with another video of chess.